now suddenly we're transported to the utmost northern part of America. So today in Rosa Mystica, because this is where we're dealing with at this point, it's like Rosa Mystica, we go from continent to continent. Today it's Northern America, and Northern America, we go to the absolute northern part of Northern America and come into Alaska and a little bit above that even, probably. So there's our very specific example of awakening of one who wrote some amazing mystical poetry. And not just like that, because you cannot write mystical poetry without having gone through a rebirth. Otherwise it would be like repeating concepts or who knows what. Now in say encountering this one, Uvavnuk is the name, and she was an ordinary woman, and something happened to her. She was like knocked off her feet by a light, by a meteor, some say, by a star, some say, by who knows what, but we know what that is. We have some more examples of being knocked off horses and who knows what. So like, this is great. So in this very simplicity, like this story was told like as an oral tradition, brought over from mouth from heart to heart, I can say. It's like from heart to heart this was transferred and came eventually into Denmark, where it was translated into Danish and where it is finally translated to English. And it's a really lovely poem that we're going to share later on. But now I did something with that. And that was what is that? A spontaneous occurrence. We received some music from one of us singing on the solstice. And I received some music from one of us playing the hang drum. And I had like, whoa, that's inspiring, very inspiring. That opens something up here. Now, but how am I going to do this was the question, and I got an answer. So what happened was this. The story of Uvavnuk, I hope I spell her name right, the story of her I gave to the AI, Gemini AI, artificial intelligence, and asked, make a movie storyboard for this, make a movie storyboard of this story. And well, that took just like an instant, and I got it back, and I'd like, okay, yeah, I never used a storyboard, movie storyboard, to express myself. And why not see that as a visual poetry? And let's see what happens if I start to use it. So I start first narrating it, and then this music came in from us. And then the visuals came in like, oh, let's mix this all together and see what happens. Now this is something that I like to show you, just to come into the atmosphere in which our dear Uvavnuk, how she got into her experience and what actually happened, and how you could express that in a movie, for instance, in an animated movie. So that's what I'm going to share. So I'll bring that up. Earthen Hut to Cosmic Shaman. The video could powerfully capture the dramatic transformation of Uvavnuk, an ordinary woman who becomes a reverend shaman through celestial encounter. Drawing inspiration from Inuit art and storytelling traditions, it would blend earthly textures with ethereal, glowing light, creating a visual, stunning narrative of spiritual awakening and communal blessing. The story unfolds in a stark, beautiful Arctic landscape, where the muted tones of snow and stone are punctuated by the vibrant, outer-worldly glow of the spirit world. The animated style would be fluid and organic, the echoing of natural forms of the north and the transformative nature of Uvavnuk's experience. Scene 1. The darkness before the light. The video opens on a wide, establishing shot of an Inuit winter dwelling, partially buried in snow under a vast, starless sky. The only light emanates faintly from the hut's entrance. The camera slowly zooms in on Uvavnuk as she emerges, her movements deliberately in the deep cold. The color palette is dominated by deep blues, purples and blacks, emphasizing the profound darkness and isolation of the moment. The sound design would be minimal, featuring only the crunch of snow under boots and whispers of the wind. Scene 2. The celestial intervention. Suddenly, a pinprick of fiery orange appears in the sky. It rapidly grows into a glowing ball of fire, casting a warm, dynamic light across the snow and on Uvavnuk's startled face. The music would begin here, a low, resonant hum that builds in intensity as the meteor descends. The animation would capture the chaotic, beautiful dance of sparks and embers trailing the fiery scene. Uvavnuk is frozen in place, her wide eyes reflecting the approaching light. The camera would employ a rapid zoom towards her as the meteor is about to make impact. Scene 3. A shaman is born. The moment of impact is not violent but transformative. The ball of fire envelops Uvavnuk for a moment. The scene is filled with a brilliant white light. Inside this incandescence, a fleeting, powerful image of the meteor spirit is revealed, a being with a dual nature. On one side, a powerful bear, on the other, a human form with a bare head and the fierce tusks of a bear. The vision would be rendered in a style of reminiscent of ancient Inuit carvings, powerful and symbolic. As the light subsides, Uvavnuk collapses. Scene 4. The purifying song. Uvavnuk rises, her body now suddenly glowing from within. She moves with a newfound, almost dance-like grace, back towards her hut, and she enters. The interior, previously dimly lit, is illuminated by her light. She begins to sing, her voice clear and resonant. As she sings, ethereal, glowing symbols and images would emanate from her, swirling around the other members of the household, representing the revelation and purification of their hidden transgressions. The animation here would be abstract and symbolic, focusing on the power of her song made manifest. Scene 5. The two sides of Uvavnuk. This scene would use a montage of the depicted Uvavnuk's dual existence. We see her as her ordinary self, her inner light extinguished, engaged in daily tasks. The colors are muted and her movements are once again grounded and human. This is contrasted with her scenes of shamanic trance and her body luminous, her eyes seeing far beyond the physical world. The transitions between these two states would be marked by a sudden ignition or fading of her light, her inner light, triggered by the unseen presence of the meteor spirit. Scene 6, the final seance and the legacy of abundance. The final act takes place during Uvavnuk's last grand seance. She is old and frail, yet when the spirit light fills her, she is immensely powerful. The animation would show her magnify, pulling forth visions of plentiful game, whales, walruses, seals, caribou, from the symbolic earth. These spectral animals, rendered in a glowing light, would pour forth from her and fill the ceremonial space, a promise of future prosperity. Scene 7, a year of plenty. The video concludes after Uvavnuk's death. The animation transitions to a montage of vibrant scenes of the village enjoying unprecedented abundance. The community is shown thriving with successful hunts and joyful gatherings. The final shot of the vast Arctic landscape, now bathed in the gentle light of a full moon, a silent testament to the enduring power of the woman who was touched by a star. The closing music would be uplifting and hopeful, a celebration of her life and legacy. Through this journey, the story of Uvavnuk would be transformed into a captivating visual experience, honoring the rich spiritual traditions of the Inuit people and the timeless tale of a woman who bridged the gap between the earthly and the divine. All right. Well, I got pretty lost in that. But thank you so much, Delin, and thank you so much, Marianne, for your input too, because you just sent the music to me and I used it, so that's really wonderful. And making, something comes to, like everything I could use and melt in with what was given. So that's really lovely. Now, Uvavnuk speaks in the language of Inuktitut. Inuktitut is the Inuit language, which has the symbolic, letters, and not necessarily Latin letters, but we got a translated form, so that makes it a little bit easier for us. And I just want to give the poem that she wrote, and in the English language, as a North American native, basically. The great sea frees me, moves me as a strong river carries a weed. Earth and her strong winds move me. Take me away, and my soul is swept up in joy. The great sea frees me, moves me, as a strong river carries a weed. Earth and her strong winds move me, take me away, and my soul is swept up in joy. So this was great to use this, in fact. I love this poem, but wait, I gotta do something, otherwise, yeah. So I really love this. It was like a prayer. It's like a prayer. So I love the mystical part of it. Now the great thing with this is what I want to show you is, in fact, this is like in order, like I said in the beginning, in order to express yourself in mystical verse, you will have to have a mystical experience. And this is in the story of Uvavnuk, is that really beautiful. Like, it has an atmosphere that it is a real story to tell. Now, I loved to share that story, and the way that I did it was just a choice, but more like the whole feel of it is very intimate and very much like within itself. So that's what I loved about it. And now the Northern American poetry, there's an abundant supply of that. There's so much published. And recognizing, like having my memories of the high school in the USA, for instance, you saw Emerson, you saw all kinds of poets, literally, say, expressions printed on the wall. You literally you see it everywhere, like this. So that's kind of interesting. Now, Ralph Waldo Emerson had also mystical experiences, and was more in the non-duality area, you could say. He was more into non-duality teaching, and you find that back in one poem that I like to share, and that is Brahman. Brahma. If the red slayer thinks he slays, or if the slain think he is the slain, they know not well the subtle ways. I keep and pass and turn again, far or forgot to me is near. Shadow and sunlight are the same. The vanished gods to me appear, and one to me are shame and fame. They reckon ill who leave me out. When me they fly, I am the wings. I am the doubter, and I am the doubt. And I the hymn the Brahman sings. The strong gods pine for my abode, and pine in vain the sacred seven. But thou, meek lover of the good, find me, and turn they back on heaven. Now we continue with another Northern American poet, and that is also a very famous one, Edgar Allan Poe. And it has a bit of the same taste as what we just read. Alone. As others were, I have not seen, and all I loved alone. From childhood's hour, I have not been, as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken. My sorrow I could not awaken. My heart to joy at the same tone. Then in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn. from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the clouds that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. As others were, I have not seen, and all I'd loved alone. From childhood's hour I've not been. As others saw, I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow, I could not waken my heart to joy at the same tone. Then in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill, the mysteries which bind me still. From the torrent or the mountain fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the clouds that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. I love it. So thank you so much for letting me do this. Of course, I'm doing that, but it is so lovely for me to dive into this poetry. I don't know how it is for you, but to discover the language in which they are expressing and what they express is like, you know, it's so great because we're talking about including yourself in and literally becoming. Letting the opposites become one in themselves, being the doubt and the doubter. For instance, as expressed by Ralph Waldo Emerson, like the opposites are coming together. If you allow it to become whole, like what is the difference between shame and fame? It's the same, you know. Even that rhymes too. But anyway, that it is. The expression of the discovery that we're making. That's why it's so nice to connect with this. It's really, really exciting and beautiful to see this expressed this way. And the same with, what was the name again? Yeah, Uvavnuk. I've said the word like 100 times today, but still, Uvavnuk. Her language is so down to earth, but taking you up so high. And the same with our boys here that I shared from, like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Edgar Allan Poe. But see, there's tons of beautiful poetry. So I would love to hear more about that from you. So if you have an idea, like you should not miss this one, I will make another video with reciting these that you send in. I would love to do that because I just love to go through them and let them literally, let them express themselves. So yeah, here's the invitation. Send them to me and I'll make a video of it or something, and in which we can dwell in it for a moment. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. All right.
Rosa Mystica assignment for June 25th, 2025. From the American poet Joy Harjo. There was a time before us. There was a time before the time before us, long ago, and not so long ago at all. In those long ago times, you and I were unimagined, just as those long ago people seem magically unimaginable to us. But if we listen on foggy mornings, we can hear the long ago people singing. On sparkle winter evenings, we smell their fresh baked bread. And somehow our pockets are full of memories we did not make. The long ago people still live in us, just as our songs and bread loaves somehow lived, before we lived, in them. So it is. We caress all words like smooth stones. We hold our palms to the sky. We know. There was a time before us. There was a time before the time before us. And our now will soon be long ago. For keeps. Sun makes the day new. Tiny green plants emerge from earth. Birds are singing the sky into place. There is nowhere else I want to be but here. I lean into the rhythm of your heart to see where it will lead us. We gallop into a warm southern wind, and I link my legs to yours, and we ride together toward the ancient encampment of our relatives. Where have you been? They ask. And what has taken you so long? That night, after eating, singing, and dancing, we lay together under the stars. We know ourselves to be part of mystery. It is unspeakable. It is everlasting. It is for keeps.
Starstruck in stillness. The sky is like the human experience. The clouds tell the blocks to awareness, at times heavy with sluggish grief, of which they eventually release too.
Stand by them.
The blue of day and the black of night. Clarity always comes in the midst of calm, and it's here I am starstruck. The silence speaks in the hush of trees, whispers wrapped in moonlight, where thought dissolves like dew. And I remember what I never truly forgot. There's no distance between me and God, except the veil I keep pulling back. Like tide and shore, I return and forget and return. But sometimes, stillness breaks open, and I glimpse it, the one self behind every form, unmoved, eternal, calling me home, not with thunder, but with the echo of my own heart.
Okay, here's one called The Greeting.
Yeah.
Say, but I love you to all living things, and they will lay their blessing over you to keep you ever safe and ever sure that you belong to God and He to you. What but I love you could the greeting be of Christ to Christ, who welcomes but Himself, And what are you except the Son of God, the Christ whom he would welcome to himself?
Mon âme. Mon âme a la candeur d'une chose étoilée, d'une neige de février. Oh, retournons au seuil de l'enfance en allée. Viens t'en prier. Ma chère, joins tes doigts et pleure, rêve et prie, comme tu faisais autrefois, lorsqu'en ma chambre, au soir vers la Vierge fleurie, montait ta voix. Ah, la fatalité d'être une âme candide, en ce monde menteur, flétri, blasé, pervers, d'avoir une âme ainsi qu'une neige en hiver, que jamais ne souilla la volonté sordide, d'avoir l'âme pareille à de la mousseline, que mamie, une sœur novice de couvent, ou comme un luth empli de musique du vent, qui chante et qui frémit le soir sur la colline. Emile Nelligan.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
The Albatross. Sometimes for sport, the men of loafing crews snare the great albatross of the deep, the indolent companions of their crews, as though the bitter vicissitudes they sweep. Scarce have they fished aboard these airy kings when helpless on such unaccustomed floors. They piteously droop their huge white wings and trail them at their sides, lifting like oars. How commercial, how ugly, how meek appears this soarer of celestial snows. One with his pipe teases the golden beak, one limping mocks the cripple as he goes. The poet, like this monarch of clouds, despising archers, rides the storm elate. As stranded on the earth of jeering crowds, the great wings of the giant balk his gates.
Albatros. Souvent, pour s'amuser, les hommes d'équipage prennent des albatros, vastes oiseaux des mers, qui suivent indolents, compagnons de voyage, le navire glissant sur les gouffres amers. À peine les ont-ils déposés sur les planches que ces rois de l'azur, maladroits et honteux, laissent piteusement leurs grandes ailes blanches comme des avirons traîner à côté d'eux. Le voyageur est laid comme il est gauche et veule, lui naguère si beau qu'il est comique et laid. L'un agace son bec avec un brûle-gueule, l'autre mime en boitant l'infirme qui volait. Le poète est semblable au prince des nuées, qui hante la tempête et se rit de l'archer. Exilé sur le sol au milieu des huées, ses ailes de géant l'empêchent de marcher.
Schweigt der Menschen laute Lust, rauscht die Erde wie in Träume, wunderbar mit allen Bäumen. Alte Zeiten, linde Trauer, und es schweifen leise Schauer, wetterleuchtend durch die Brust. It's a whole story of this young man, the good for nothing, that just enjoys nature, and in summer there are these like lightnings of heat, and he speaks of how nature enjoys that, and expresses that.
So anyway, so thank you so much for your presence today and for participating in this Rosa Mystica, which is a very specific meeting, in fact. And it's if you have a feel for it, it's absolutely delightful to me, and I hope you receive it like that too. So thank you for everything, and I hope to see you before you know it. Thank you for everything. Bye for now. Thank you.